those legacy publishers, Microsoft's, IBM's, Oracle's. They're not spending as much resourcing and time into some of the newer SaaS publishers. What happens then when you do that is you miss a significant portion of your software stack. When you're focused on the top 2, 3, 4, 5, you're missing out on everything else that can sum to millions or tens of millions in dollars in SaaS spend.
In our last episode, Ben Pippinger shared who needs to be involved in a SaaS management program and talked a little bit about their roles and responsibilities. Today, I have Zylo's Connor Mullany joining me. Connor has spent a number of years in software asset management and has partnered with many of Zylo's enterprise customers for the past few years. Now, recently, he's joined our product team and he is working on some pretty incredible new innovations. Connor, super excited to have you on SaaS Me Anything today.
Thanks for having me, Meredith.
All right, so we are going to jump into a fun topic. We're going to talk about software asset management tools, their pitfalls, when it comes to really managing SaaS. So I just want to rip off the Band-Aid. I want to start with a little bit of a provocative question. We often hear from some companies that when they're searching for a solution for SaaS management, they're looking for an all-in-one solution, a unicorn technology that's going to be incredible at managing on-prem and SaaS. Connor, my question for you is, does the unicorn exist?
Well, Meredith, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. And as much as I would like for that solution to exist, it really doesn't. And that's because when you think about your software asset management tools, and you think about the differences between SaaS and on-prem software, they're each different organizational investments, and they're unique, and they have their own nuances, complexities, and challenges. And so what you really are going to need is a tool that's focused on those specific challenges for each type of software. And so when we think about our best-in-class enterprise customers with mature SAM and ITAM programs, it's really the better together story. And they're leveraging a SaaS management platform like Zylo in addition to your traditional on-prem SAM tool to complement each other to help them build their overall SAM or ITAM program.
Yeah, so Connor, it sounds like it's not one of those either or situations. If you've got on-prem and SaaS, it's an and. You need that great on-prem solution, but you need a SaaS management platform that was really built to manage SaaS.
Exactly right. And I would say, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you maybe didn't need a SaaS management platform. You needed an on-prem SAM tool because that was what was most prevalent in your software stack at the time. Today, I would actually flip it around, right? If we look at some of these newer organizations, your larger legacy enterprises, you're still going to have an on-prem environment, right? Your Microsofts, your IBMs, your Oracles.
Yeah, sure.
But a lot of organizations now are much more SaaS forward. And so if we're looking at priority, I think SaaS management platform is going to come before an on-prem SAM tool for a lot of organizations today.
So Connor, I love that you shared that. I'd have a follow-up question because a lot of time companies are doing their evaluation of where do I start. Sounds like you're saying there's a lot of opportunity with SaaS and SaaS management platforms. Which one of those is actually going to have the fastest time to value? Because that's a really important question companies are trying to answer today.
It's a great question. And you're right. Our customers and prospects are being asked to do a lot by their leaders, and they need to know that they're going to have quick time to value whenever they're thinking about a new investment. And far and away, the fastest time to value is going to be a SaaS management platform like Zylo. And I can say this having worked in on-prem SAM tool implementations in my career before joining Zylo, those projects can take a lot of time, sometimes quarters and sometimes even years. And the reason for that is because of the technical expertise that's required. With on-prem software, you need to discover what's on your end user machines, what's on your VMs, what's on your servers. And that requires deploying endpoints to discover what software is deployed there. And you're sometimes going to need consultancies or implementation services in order to do that. And those projects can last a while. With a SaaS management platform, it's going to be a lot quicker time to value because you're just plugging in with your financial system, your single sign-on, and then your direct integrations. And usually all that's going to require is a review from security and an admin to establish the connection, and then you're off to the races. So we're looking at quarters or years compared to weeks to months.
Wow, that is absolutely a big difference. And, both approaches, both purposes have value, but when you've got business outcomes you're trying to drive, trying to save money for your company, that speed is really going to come into play. Mm-hmm. Now, Connor, before we talk about why they don't work, I'd actually like to talk about where you think traditional SAM tools actually excel.
I'm glad you brought that up, Meredith, because I don't want to completely rag on them. Because as I mentioned, with some of these larger enterprises, you're still going to have an on-prem software footprint, right? You're still going to have IBM software. You're still going to have Oracle. And so it is important for these enterprises to have an on-prem SAM tool. And those tools are going to do really, really well at those vendors and those publishers that I was talking about. And they're going to help you set up discovery so you can understand what your ELP or effective license position is for those software publishers, so you can prepare for a renewal, or you can respond to an audit and avoid what sometimes are multi-million-dollar bills.
Connor, so it sounds like SAM tools are really effective and do a great job when it's talking about on-prem situations. Now, I want to get a little bit more specific. SaaS is growing, it's exploding. Everything is moving from on-prem to the cloud. Where are these on-prem tools kind of missing the mark when it comes to SaaS?
And I think there's a few different areas where they're currently potentially missing the mark. The first is that they're just not built for SaaS, right? We mentioned that you need a focused solution for both SaaS and on-prem. And a lot of these on-prem software asset management tools kind of try to do it all. A lot of them have grown into SaaS through acquisition, but they still invest a significant portion of their resources and time on those legacy publishers, those Microsofts, those IBMs, and those Oracles. And they're not spending as much resourcing and time into some of the newer SaaS publishers. What happens then when you do that is you miss a significant portion of your software stack. When you're focused on the top 2, 3, 4, 5, you're missing out on everything else that can sum to millions or tens of millions in dollars in SaaS spend. And what we call that at Zylo sometimes is your tail spend, right? Your smaller expense tools that individually may not be much, but when you sum them up, they can add up to a lot of money and potentially a lot of risk if they're not properly managed. A couple of the other areas where you're going to see it fall flat is going to be, as I mentioned earlier, the extensive technical resources and requirements when setting up an on-prem SAM tool. It's going to be slower time to value. Sometimes you're going to have to pay for managed services to help support you and manage those technical requirements and implementations. And the final piece I'll say is, and you mentioned SaaS is becoming more and more of a problem and it's becoming more and more complex. These tools are going to lack some of those deeper utilization and usage integrations to help address those increasing license complexities. Like I was saying, 10 years ago, it was a lot simpler. You buy a license for a user or a seat, and you see whether they're using that license or not. With the rise of consumption and pay-as-you-go software and platform fees, it's not as simple anymore. And so you need a SaaS management platform that's going to be able to help you respond to those complexities when these renewals come around.
Man, being in charge of managing SaaS and software and on-prem these days is just, it's a hard job. Connor, thank you so much for joining us today, talking more about SAM tools, helping us understand what they are and also what they aren't. And it doesn't really sound like there's something that are built for SaaS. You do need a solution for on-prem. Traditional SAM tools really seem to do a great job, but if you're looking to solve that, holistic SaaS challenge within your company, a dedicated purpose-built SaaS management solution is really something that you need to look at. If you'd like to dive deeper into this topic, please check out our No BS SaaS management playbook. That's going to be linked in our show notes. And as always, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notifications for all of Zylo's video content. And please join us next time. We're going to explore the topic of the pitfalls of managing a SaaS with spreadsheets.